Hello, and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD, and this is my lair. Today, we're unboxing another box of 10 Pokemon cards I sent to PSA over a year ago. I got them back in this box, professionally packaged, safe and sound. Let me get them out of here and see what grades we got. Alright? Hey, let's go. Let's take a look at this 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Grimer, a first edition, the number 57 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, it's very clean. There's no scratches, creases, bends, or any other problems on the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think, is all within the tolerances or very close. Looking at our corners and our edges, I did not see any damage that I could find. As we flip the card over and look to the back of the card, you can see that our centering from left to right and top to bottom is all, I think, within the tolerances or really close, just like the front. Looking at our surface, it is free of any creases, bends, scratches, or any other damage to the graphics or surface of the card. Our corners and our edges, surprisingly, they look really clean too. I think this will be a good card. And that's going to give us a grade of Gem Mint 10. Awesome, that's a perfect grade. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Koffing, a first edition number 58 card. Looking at the centering on this card to start with, from top to bottom and left to right, I think it's all within the tolerance or really within the spec. Looking at our corners and our edges, I did not see any damage that would affect the grade. Our surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches, or any other damage to the graphics. The back of the card looks just as good as the front. Our centering from top to bottom, left to right, I think is all within the tolerances. Our corners and our edges, I think, are very clean. I don't see any damage on them. Looking at our surface, it does not show any damage like creases, bends, or scratches. And they're going to give us a grade of Gem Mint 10. Man, I like those 10s. We're looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Machop, a first edition number 59 card. The graphics of this card look really nice. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface. Our centering from left to right, I think, is slightly towards the left. Centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not find any damage. Looking at the back of the card, it's just as good as the front. Our centering from left to right, I think, is a little towards the right. Centering from top to bottom, I think that's within the tolerance. Corners are in our edges. I think the two lower corners and the upper right corner has some very slight specks of damage. Looking at the surface of the card, there is no damage on it like creases, bends, or scratches. And this Machop will get a grade of Mint 9. Man, that's pretty darn good. Let's take a look at this 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Magnemite, a first edition and number 60 card of the set. The front of this card shows no signs of any damage like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think, is all within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think they are free of any damage that would affect a grade. As we turn the card over and look at the back, our surface shows no signs of any damage like creases, bends, or scratches, just like the front. Looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think that's all really close to the tolerances or within. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think all four corners have some very, very slight damage. And that's going to get us a grade of Mint 9. That's better than I thought I'd get. You are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Mankey, a first edition, the number 61 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, I think it's very clean. I did not see any creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think, is all within the tolerances. Looking at the corners and our edges, they are surprisingly clean and free of any damage. As we take a gander at the back of the card, we'll look at the surface first, and that is free of any creases, bends, or scratches, or any other damage. Looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think top to bottom is within tolerance left to right. It looks a little towards the right, maybe out of the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think they are very nice and clean and free of damage. And with that, we'll get a grade of Gem Mint 10. Wow, that surprises me. I thought it'd be a 9. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Meowth, a first edition, the number 62 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card is very clean. I don't see any scratches, creases, or bends, or any other damage. Looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think that's all within the tolerance, or really, really close. Our corners and our edges, I think, are free of any damage. or any other problems. Taking a look at the back of the card, our surface is free of any damage. I like it that there's no creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom I think is all within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, those are free of any damage. I don't see any that I can find. This should be a pretty good card. I think this is going to be great. This is a Gem Mint 10. Awesome. I think that Meowth did great. Here's a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Oddish, a first edition, the number 63 card of this set. This card is very vibrant. There's no problems on the graphics. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom I think is all within the tolerances. Looking at our surface, it's free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think they are very nice and clean and free of damage. Looking at the back of the card, our surface shows no damage like creases, bends, or scratches. Looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think those are all really close to the 9 or 10 tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, I see a little bit of speck of damage on that lower right corner. And that's going to get us a grade of Mint 9. That's exactly what I thought. We are looking at this 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Ponyta, the first edition, the number 64 card. Looking at the front of this card, the graphics are very bright and clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface of this card. Looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think those are all within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think they are free of any damage. As we look to the back, our centering from left to right and top to bottom I think is all within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, for the back of the card, they are exceptionally free of any damage. Looking at our surface, just like the front, there is no creases, bends, or scratches. And Ponyta is going to get a grade of Gem Mint 10. Man, I like it a lot. Let's look at this 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Psyduck, a first edition, the number 65 card. I love the Pokemon Psyduck. It's one of my favorites. I like the graphics on this one. The surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom I think on the front of the card is all within the tolerances. Looking at the corners and our edges, I did not find any damage. Taking a look at the back, our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think top to bottom is pretty close to the tolerance. Left to right, I think it's slightly towards the right. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not find any damage. Just like I did not find any damage like creases, bends, or scratches on the surface of this card. So Psyduck's going to get a grade of Gem Mint 10. That's pretty darn awesome. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Rattata, a first edition number 66 card. Looking at the front of this card, Rattata looks very clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface. Looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think those are all within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, they are very clean and free of any damage. The back of the card is very clean. I did not see any creases, bends, or scratches just like on the front. Looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, that looks really good and I think is within all the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, they surprisingly look very clean. This could be a good, and we're going to get a grade of Gem Mint 10. That's pretty good for a 23-year-old card. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you liked the video and the cards I displayed. Please like and subscribe, and always remember, you gotta catch them all. Have a nice day.